What up, y'all? It's your boy Hood Nerd, back with another episode. First edition of Crockpot Sundays. And I'm going to try and keep the Sundays just Crockpot Sundays while I just slow cook. So it probably won't be any audio in terms of me breaking down videos. It'll be me, making sure I'm just kind of unloading everything I kind of went through the week, observed through the week via social media, my own personal life, advice I'm giving out, those type of things. So Saturdays will be the deep dives, Sundays will be Crockpot Sundays. And throughout the week, like I said, there'll be special episodes here and there. Whenever it's something I'm, just interested in, I guess to kind of, if it's something big that has happened, then I'll do a deep dive on it. But today we're going to talk about destroying and rebuilding. Now, relationships get real finicky that way. We do a lot of destroying. And for people that's worthy, you do a lot of rebuilding. So I had almost 2-hour conversation with my brother-in-law earlier this week. And y'all can check him and his co-host podcast out. I think it's the YOD podcast. If I'm not mistaken. Yes, the YOD podcast. But we was chopping up early this week, and he was just like, yo, I just kind of want to make sure my message is on point and that I'm kind of still being true to myself and getting out what I need to get out. And of course, while he was saying that, I'm agreeing, but, throughout the week, it's kind of registering and it's hitting home, and it's having me recenter myself again and say, you know what? These deep dives are fun, they're fine, but the mission is still to humanize myself and make myself relatable to Black men out here, and even Black women who can get something out of, whatever the red pill information I'm giving out at that point in time. And I probably haven't been personal since the first maybe 3 or 4 episodes. Now, maybe a tidbit of stuff I put out there here and there, but I don't too much deep dive into what I have going on at this point. So that's basically what Crockpot Sundays will be. It's just, me deep diving into whatever I'm seeing throughout the week or feeling throughout the week. Me being able to do a cleanse and a purge and get it out. So first we'll start with something light before I get into any of the heavy stuff. First we'll start, my man Giannis, the Bucks. They up 3-2. And it's not even, I'm rooting for them to win, but I'm rooting for them to win because I was happy CP3 was able to get to the finals. Because I think it shines the light that you can win with a traditional point guard. And I would love for the traditional point guard to come back to the NBA, because even in the NBA, what are they getting into? And it kind of coincides with life at this point if you're paying attention. Positionless basketball. So now people don't really have an identified role, which is the way we live in society at this point. People are starting to maneuver around where they don't want identified roles. You don't have roles, relationships can't work. So, I want CP. I was cool with CP getting there, but I wanted Giannis to win because I wanted somebody from a small market who decided to stay, not tuck his tail and run like Bron and Durant did. And I know y'all say Miami. It's different with Miami because the record was terrible prior, but it really wasn't different. And if we're being honest, it was all orchestrated from when they was in the Olympics together. I think it was in 08. with the Redeem team with him and Kobe and D Wade and Melo. It was actually supposed to be Melo who was supposed to be that with D Wade and Bron, but Melo decided he wanted the full max, opt out early and join. They was all supposed to join together. So for me, when you grab 3 of the top 10 players in the league, that's you running away from your problems. And that's you really not sticking around to rebuild something. And I really had an issue with what Bron did because he had them cater that whole franchise around him. The whole franchise around him in Cleveland. His friends was able to ride first class and sit up front with the owners and all of these things. Practice facilities were built close to where he was living at to make life very easy for him. And then he just wanted to change the scenery. In the prime of his life, what was he, 25, 26 years old, just get up, gone, goes. So he goes to Miami. And he goes to not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. They were supposed to win forever. But who do you lose to your first year? Dirt. Somebody who stayed. Even though they kept destroying the teams around him and rebuilding, he stayed through all of it to make sure, you know what? I'm a Maverick for life. This is how this is going to go. So, yeah, Bron was able to win the second and third year with stacked teams. Then you lose the fourth year to the Spurs. But even if you notice the fourth year, what was going on? Kyrie was becoming a superstar. Cleveland had a bunch of young assets at this point in time. Then they end up getting the number 1 pick in the draft. D Wade, health is failing them. Chris Bosh, health is failing them. So what does Bron do in Miami? After saying not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, what does he say? I'm coming home. Now, I know you guys say that's noble. He's going back home. But no, what he saw was the chessboard was set up perfect for him to go and position himself to try and go ring hunt again. So what did he do now? I'm going to go home and get a ring with Cleveland. Now, he didn't stay when they was continuing to destroy and rebuild around him and stay through the tough times. He jetted through the tough times. So now they get Wiggins. And I'm going to show you how this was orchestrated. When you see that, you go back to that Sports Illustrated piece, I think it was, when he was saying, I'm coming home, never even mentioned Andrew Wiggins. They had no intentions of keeping Andrew Wiggins. And they had already drafted him. But he already knew that pick was gone and we was going to get a superstar with that, be it Kevin Love or whoever else. So again, I'm going to make my life as easy as possible to get what I need. So he got up and he ran again. Went to Cleveland, won 1 ring. Got rough. Kyrie wanted out, didn't want to be a part of it no more. He wanted to go do his own thing. And what did Bron do? Boom, got up. I'm out. I'm going to LA. More young talent. So what did he do with the Lakers? Made them mortgage the future to go get him Anthony Davis. See, all these things are calculated moves. I know people well to say wherever he goes, they wins. But what he does is he cherry picks the best situation. Then he goes to do what he do. And that's fine. But for me, that's not a guy willing to go through the tough times. So that's somebody I look at and can always say, I don't want a guy like that in a foxhole with me. I wouldn't want him as a friend, not a tight friend. Because that ain't somebody I can trust to go in the foxhole with me. Same with KD. And I don't really fault KD as much because KD just didn't want to play with Russ anymore. And they wouldn't trade Russ. And at that point, KD left. Now, I would have rather KD went to Washington because I thought, to me, you don't upset the balance of the league like that. You just don't leave someplace where you got beat by a team who won 73 games and then you go join them the following year. But that is what that is. So, to me, the KD situation was different. Because if they would have traded Russ, I truly believe KD would have stayed in Oklahoma City. But that is what that is. But we get to Giannis. Giannis had a chance to this upcoming summer to be a free agent. And what did he do last summer? I'm not leaving. He said it'll mean more to me to win one here than to go win multiple elsewhere. And that's why I want him to win the title. Because to me, that's a man's man. That's a man who is willing to say, you know what? I'm going to give it everything I got and see if I can get it done here. He was willing to destroy and rebuild a few times with Milwaukee. Now, at a certain point, you do have to do like Charles Barkley did and Karl Malone and Gary Payton. But when you decide to leave, you decided to leave when you gave everything you had and you're not in the prime of your career. You're now tailing off from prime. You're tailing off from superstar to all-star caliber player again. You don't go when you got your superpowers to go join up with other guys with their superpowers. You upset the competitive balance of things. So, very hopeful Giannis is able to win that. Second thing, I have my own issues with, I won't say issues, but in the midst, it just came to an understanding, a few disagreements about the way we were moving both in our marriage. And it was us holding each other to the standard of not letting each other, and I'm big on allowing people to evolve. It was not allowing us to evolve from who we met 3 years ago to who we are now. And I thought everything that came out when we had our, I guess, minor argument or disagreement, as you call it, is we're able to kind of dig deep into everything that was going on, put everything on the table, come back, say, yo, let's start from ground zero again, and let's, get back to the foundation. Because I always tell you guys, the friendship for us, that is the foundation of it all. So, that situation ended up being an eye-opener for me. So it's probably the first real disagreement in 3 years we really had. I won't say first, but like something serious. So, that rocked the fabric and the core of what you kind of look at. But like I said, it also forces you to look at, and it's something we've come to an agreement with, is every year we probably need to reevaluate like where we are in terms of the relationship, not leaving the relationship, but just, am I really listening enough to her needs? Is she listening enough to my needs? Am I giving everything she needs? Is she giving me what I need? Let's kind of keep checking in on each other and making sure that we're on the same page. Because what has happened is we went 3 years without checking in on each other. So she's still holding me to the guy she met in the beginning. I'm still holding her to the woman I met in the beginning. And now she's running home business. I'm working, running this at this point in time. And, life is changing around us. We're holding each other to something, and we both doing what we're doing independent of each other. And, the outside is starting to change around us. But also we're doing this in a pandemic. And you're not really realizing that everything around you is taking a toll on the relationship you're in, because you're not truly being honest with each other. You're trying to not hurt people's feelings and not step on any toes. So, I don't know. We was truly, like, wasn't nobody lying, but were we being brutally honest with what we were feeling inside the relationship at that point. No, it was kind of like putting band-aids on every little thing. And then it just reared its ugly head. So, like I said, I thought that was a great conversation and it put us back on track. So, that situation, if you would have talked to me about this last Saturday, I was in a whole different headspace. But, once you have conversations and you get clarity and you're able to hear and digest exactly what your partner is saying, she's able to digest. And I think some of the fears are you're hoping that they're going to be receptive to what you're saying. That when you're vulnerable with them, they're going to understand that and be like, okay, I hear your point. And I can change what I need to change to, help that situation. And then on the other end, when she says what she needs to say, I can come and say, okay, yeah, I can change what I need to change. And, let's get back completely on track. And them creams smell good too. But on Sunday after the gym, I can get some vegetables in my system. So greens and fish for me today. We swore off red meat, man. And unless we talking the 4th of July Memorial Day, you guys probably done with red meat. So, but with that being said, that's that. Then I have a buddy who's going through some marriage issues, and you find yourself being Superman. Well, and Matt, I should also say though, in my marriage at this point, we destroyed what it was for the first 3 years to bring it back to ground zero to now rebuild something else again so that we don't get lost and people can thrive and cultivate and currently be themselves in our relationship so we can continue to grow. Because if she would have kept holding me to be who I was 3 years ago, and I'm holding her to be who she was 3 years ago, 7 years from now, it would have been 10 years past. We would have evolved into something totally different. And there's a relationship full of resentment now. So now I have a buddy now who is going through it. And the situation is weird because it's a guy who don't really want to confide in a lot of people. And he's the one usually giving advice out. And I was able to see, you can start seeing cracks and stuff when people stop posting things and you starting to catch them making snide remarks about their wife and all of that. And it's like, yo, everything good? So, we chilling one day, we in a group chat and everybody kind of get out and they leave. So we still in the Discord and I hear her, talking to him in the background, just like, what, I think it's best we kind of split. And when she kind of go and I hear him sniffling, and I'm like, yo, you good? He like, whoa, how much of that you heard? I'm like, man, I heard she talking about leaving, man. Y'all good over there? It was just like, you know what? She been sleeping with another guy at work. And I told y'all already, man, the more they bend you, eventually they'll get bored after a while because they've done everything they wanted to do to you. And he was like, she want to go be with him. And I was just like, you know what? How do you feel about that relationship and the situation that's going on at hand? And see, what you find out when you talk to a lot of guys is they're not even really in love with their wives, man. They're in love with the idea of what things used to be and what everything represents to the outside world. When you're talking to them, you getting, she's nagging, she's cheating. I don't really find her attractive anymore. And she's terrible with money. So then you ask yourself, well, why are you in a relationship? Well, we got kids together and we married. Yeah, but it sounds like you're unhappy. Well, you get that long pause from him. And you think the light goes off. And he's like, yeah, you're right. Maybe I should do something. And then you look up a couple of days and they back on social media saying, I do anything for my wife and all that. And you understand at that point, stay out of that. Whatever else happens in that, give him your opinion on it. Gave him some sound advice. Let it be. That's that man's business. Not going to even jump into that. So then we get into my last destroy and rebuild. Because for me, I thought that's a relationship. For me, I'm destroying at that point. But see, for us men, we get to a point where we get into these places where it's like, I'm not going to let you guys see me vulnerable. I'm going to always show you I'm strong. I'm going to act like nothing is bothering me. So yeah, you're being strong for everybody on the outside, but you're dying slowly on the inside. And see, at some point, you will have to choose you over everyone else. See, that Richard Sherman situation, when something like that happens, you have to be able to look at everything that's going on around you. You have to think, transitioning into that Richard Sherman situation, you have to think, here's a man who's worth millions and millions of dollars. Stanford graduate, children, living out his dream, playing in the NFL, beautiful wife, and you still not happy. You're drinking a bottle of vodka and Hennessy back to back, screaming that you want to kill yourself. All of these things, and it goes to the point when I tell people money does not make people happy, and you don't realize that till you get in a situation where you have enough to go do the things you always wanted to do, and at that point, that's when you start to realize, you know what? Money doesn't make me happy. It's the same as when you see people get into these boxes and it's like, well, he's rich. Why is he's successful? What makes him successful? He's rich. He's wealthy, well off. And they can't ever fathom why that lawyer who's making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year just gets up one day and quits his job and say, you know what? I'm just getting ready to go live off the land. I'm getting ready to just get in the car and just drive for the next year. Well, he got money in the bank. Now, he said he only got $30,000 in his savings. But he's fine. He just wants to be at peace. Because at a certain point in life, you always get to a point in life where you're going to be able to have everything you want. A beautiful woman. You're going to be able to have children. You're going to be able to have money. And it's still going to be some emptiness inside. And that emptiness is you haven't truly found the meaning of life yet. See, the meaning of life is not money or success. All it is peace. Peace of mind. Once you get to a place where you can start having large and large chunks of peace of mind throughout the day, you'll be very happy. When you find things to be focused on, that's productive, you'll be very happy. Most importantly, when you find your purpose in life, then you'll be extremely happy. So your purpose in life doesn't necessarily mean that there's huge monetary gain in it, but you have to be comfortable being able to walk in your purpose for you to truly ever understand the meaning of life and really get some gratification out of life. See, when you see all these people out here partying and yo, we getting ready to go to Vegas and we turning up, we getting ready to drink till we getting sloppy drunk. Why would you be drinking? What's fun about getting sloppy drunk, throwing up all over the place? What's fun about self-medicating with marijuana every day, 2 and 3 times a day? What are you running from? What's fun about your porn addiction? What's fun about your food addiction when you're emotionally eating? See, there's a lot of things that us as human beings do where you can start looking and saying, you know what, there's some chinks in the armor over there. We all have them. We all have them. Because you look at the guy who works out every day and you'll say, you know what, he in the gym, he healthy and all that. But now you have to ask yourself, why is he working out to exhaustion? 7 days a week, 4 hours a day. Who is he trying to impress? Who is this for? Why is he doing it? See, a lot of times it's not the when, the who, and the what. It's always the why. So figure out what your purpose is for you Black men. Stand in that. And life will make a lot more sense to you. See, sometimes you have to look at the woman next to you and understand this is not the woman who's meant to be with me when I need to be in my purpose. When I find my purpose, this is not it. And to my buddy who I know you listening, it's okay to end that situation. If you're going to be happy and truly happy, you're going to have to find somebody who wants you for you, whether that being still reading, having a room set to the side for your comic books, being a video game player, playing golf all the time, playing basketball or whatever. If you're not allowed to be you in that relationship, it's death by 1,000 paper cuts, man. It's not fun being in a situation like that where you're forced to be something you're not. Now, let me get some water for this last one. See, this last destroy and rebuild scenario is there comes a point when you get divorced and you understand this situation and that situation shouldn't be that tight anymore. So, my ex, she's gone on, got married, had another child, all of that. And kudos to him. But my issue is my child. So this is where my destroy and rebuild comes in that. With my youngest daughter, there's going to, at this point, always be fighting to make sure she gets where she needs to get to in life. And she's in a position where she feels like she can succeed and do what it is she wants to do. Walk in her purpose, not walk in everyone else's purpose. So see, when I ask my daughter, what is it you want to do? I want to get a trade. Why do you want to get a trade? Because I want to get a job so I can help mommy out. And college is a ripoff. That's not your job. It's not your job to help your mother out at this point. Your job is to focus on you, being the best individual you can be. And in the process, if you can help her out, then you help her out. But see, what is happening now is, and this is the second child this is happening with, there's a strong push from the gynocracy, whereas mother knows best, father knows nothing. And see, the one thing you think you can rely on is, you know what? My family will have my back. And they see what's going on over there. And the situation is not correct. It's not right. So at this point, they'll be pulling more for the rope my way. But what you find out is the women in your family are still pulling the rope more that way. And every time something goes wrong, they're pulling the rope with our mother that way away from me. But when something goes wrong, then they want to come back and call me and say, hey, can you go over there and do something about it? So, this summer, my daughter lives with her mother. So this summer, I'm supposed to have my daughter. And told y'all at this point, 6'1", 6'1.5", almost 6'2" at this point. So I'm just like, okay, go in 8th grade and get you in shape. And we get you on the basketball court. We'll make sure you have a scholarship by the time you graduate high school. I don't need you to be great. I just need somebody to pay for school for you. That's the issue. That's the goal at this point. And she was, well, I don't want to play basketball, Daddy. I want to play volleyball. Okay, well, play volleyball then. So then they call, okay, this is what volleyball costs. Can you send this down? Can you pay this? That's fine. No problem with it. Hey, kiddo, you've been playing volleyball? No, but I've been doing a lot of kickboxing. Okay, so that's fine. So you get all these stories all last year about how great this situation is. She's working out hard, all of this. So I get up here. First day we working out on the court. I ain't ran in 6 months. I'm completely out of shape. I say in the end, 5 straight. I done lapped it 3 times doing it. So at this point, I'm asking, I thought you was working out down there. I asked her mother, I thought she working out down there. Well, y'all pushing her hard. She is working out. She can't even run up and down the court. So now we're going through all these workouts. She couldn't hit the rim at first and all this. So we're a month in, 3 weeks to a month in, she's making layups, teaching her how to rebound. Progress is made. That's fine. Because people see results from this, everybody's clapping their hands and they cool. Fast forward, newborn baby gets here. Her sister, from her mother. Okay, Daddy, I want to go back down there. That's fine. Go see your sister, hang out, whatever. Come back in a week. We'll have 7 weeks left. Rest of the summer. Finish out strong. Send you back. Okay, Daddy, I need to stay another week. That's fine. Stay another week. Fast forward this week. All right, you coming back Saturday. Okay, that's fine. So let's take it back. I get out of physical therapy last Saturday. I talked to her. I'm like, you know what? You can stay down there another week. Come back next Saturday. That way you can spend more time with her. That's cool. At this point now, though, I'm starting to see what this is now. And it's starting to resemble what it resembled when I got a divorce, which was I end up working mornings and overnights to try and work these weird schedules to always make sure, my oldest was never responsible for babysitting her youngest sister. And like I told you guys in previous episodes, that was something that had me irate when it was, because I had 15 years in at a job that I ended up having to leave because I was put in a position where it was just like, I can't leave I'm not going to be able to get off work to get her. And I have to be at work at a certain time. So a mother's saying, yeah, I can't change my schedule at all. They don't even allow us to. So I'm like, okay, fine. I can. So I changed the options, changed my schedule to get that, end up quitting that job. It's like, this is the way life is just going to have to be because I'm not going to have my oldest daughter spending the high school days babysitting and making this her responsibility. So like I told y'all in that previous episode, well, beginning episodes, what was that, episode 1 or 2? Once I decided to say, you know what, I'm done, and I'm getting a divorce, then all of a sudden, miraculously, she can now change her shifts. Now she can work whatever. She can go in early in the morning now. So see, for me, there were movements made where it was like you could have always done this, but you wanted to play this card to get your way. That was cool. Understood it. Like I said, I don't even get upset anymore at it because you have to understand at this point, me being accountable, I married a narcissist, and that's just what that was, and I have to deal with the fallout of that. But now I see that, and see one of the before I even get back to this, one of the linchpins back then with all of this was I started to see that my mother's bond with her was stronger with her than it was our own son. And through all of that, I always was just like, you know what? It was the first time I understood how strong the gynocracy was. And even as I left and I moved out and all that, I told you there was this line my mother told me one day when she was like, you'll never understand what it's like to be a single mother. That's why I'm always on her side. Yeah, but my father wasn't around. That's what made you a single mother. Their father is here. So y'all don't have the same, y'all not in the same boat. But in her head, they are in the same boat. And you know what? I said, you know what? I'm going to put some distance with that. I'm going to chill. And even in my head, I'm thinking I understand now why I stand with my own mother. But it's also when I tell you guys, when it comes to red pill, you got to be able to sit down and accept and stomach some hard truths. Some hard truths. Now, that truth happened a few years ago. But see, even then, I told you with my oldest, it was always no, just do what her mother says, or they would always go over my head to my ex-wife. And that's kind of how they would operate. And then if something would go wrong, then they would come back to me and say, hey, well, why don't you put your foot down? And it's my mother's way of trying to manipulate the situation because she ain't gonna yell and scream at her. She'll come to me and say, why don't you go put your foot down and try and gas the situation up? And because it's my mother, you allow that to happen. So that's why I say we fast forward all of this now. And it's happening again. Now I get this phone call yesterday. Her mother was sick. She's in the emergency room, all this. Call and check. And this ain't even no knock to their mother at this point because that situation is what that situation is. She ain't told me about none of this. This ain't her putting any of this out. So I ain't even putting her in this at this point, to be honest with you. Besides her thinking that, our 13-year-old should be babysitting an infant at this point, and my thoughts on that, but that's a whole nother conversation. They come up to me and she was in the emergency room and she's sick and all this. So I reach out, I say, so what's going on down there? Oh, nothing. Just iron low, vitamin deficient, and could have been a panic attack. So it's cool. So now you have to understand the weird thing about all this is my mother's the godmother to this child. So She calls me yesterday. Well, my youngest calls first and says, I'm coming up. She's supposed to be coming up and finish the summer out. So she'll be here the next 6 weeks, 6 to 7 weeks. I'm coming up, but I'm leaving Wednesday. Wait a minute. What are you talking about? I got to go back down there and take care of mommy. What's going on? Nothing. Okay. Your mother adult. Like we've had this conversation over and over again. Your job is to be the child, not to be taking care of your mother or taking care of another child. That's not your job. Your job is to be a child. That's it. So she's pouting and all of this, and it's just that conversation ends, and I'm just like, you know what? I don't know what you're talking about, but you ain't going back down there, and you'll be up here the next 6 weeks. We're gonna finish getting this work in, and we'll let this continue to. We'll work out something for you to get down and see your mother in a couple weeks, 3 weeks. So then I get this weird text from my mother. Her mother was in the emergency room, and she just want to be able to, go check in on her. So be easy on her. I never yell at my child. So if she don't need to be easy, I don't need to be easy on it. So then I get a phone call from my mother later on in the day, and but her grandmother's leaving, and rest in peace to Clyde too, man. That was a cool dude. I met him a few times. He's a cool and fun-loving guy. So, but what we're getting ready to get back to is she's just like, you know what? Her grandmother leaving. She want to be down there to take care of mother, watch after. I said, she married. Where her husband at? I ain't worried about him. I know her grandmother ain't gonna be there. Well, that's her husband's job to take care of her mother at this point. When Zolia's there, that's fine. But my child is up here at this point. Sorry about that for saying your name. That was a fraudulent slip. So, even at this point, she's now asking a 13-year-old to now supersede and impose in on what the husband's job is in that relationship and say, you take care of her. So now I'm getting pissed. So now I say, so why does she need to be down there then? Because she's just not doing well and all of this. So what is a 13-year-old going to do if she ain't doing well? They both suffer from panic attacks. So now my thing is, what if they both have a panic attack? I don't know then. Oh, okay. Well, if something happened though, she can watch the baby. Bingo. That ain't the babysitter. And see, this is how a lot of these young girls and these young boys get caught up in these weird positions. Because parents want to have children and do all these things, and then they want to venture off and they want the children to become the de facto parent in the home and the babysitter while they go out and live. Not a problem. Why she there with her? I don't care about that. When it's my time, no, I don't want my time infringed upon. So then I ask her the brightest question I could ask her. If it's that important to you, and her health is in that much, and her health is failing, which I know already, it's not. I've already did my deep dive and made my phone calls, all of that. I understand already what the situation is. It's nowhere near as dire is what they're saying. It ain't even serious, to be honest with you. No more than her looking after herself and being mindful of what she's putting in her body. I say, well, if it's that important, why don't you have her come up here and stay with you for a few days until her mother get back in town? No, I can't do that. Fine. Cool. As my man Ron would say, cool. Why don't you pack a bag then and go down there? Because my daughter's staying here at this point. Why don't you pack a bag then since it's your godchild, and it would be your role in at that point if something would happen to them for you to take care of it. Why don't you pack a bag and go and stay down there for a few days? You are the adult. You're retired. Nah, I ain't doing that either. Cool. But the whole gist of this is my worry is about the grandbaby. Okay, well, your worry is about my child, then you was worried about what was best for her. What's best for her wouldn't be having to be an adult and be in the parental role for an adult and an infant. So this goes back and forth for a few minutes. Then I called my daughter back, and no, she calls me back and she says, I just want to know, can I go, please? You said I could be back Wednesday. I wasn't supposed to come back till Thursday anyway. So can I just go back down there tomorrow? And I said, you know what? My hands up with y'all. I'm not going to fight this. You want to go back down there? At this point, you're going to be 14 in December. We're not going to keep going back and forth with this. That's the decision you want to make. You stand on that. Okay, I can go back. Yeah, go back tomorrow. Then I get a phone call back 5 minutes later. Wait, can I just stay till Wednesday with you then and then go? Nope. No, you said tomorrow. You want to be down there, that's fine. I'm not going to be playing around Monday and Tuesday throughout the work week and pushing stuff back, leaving early or going in late to get you downtown and get you back down to where you need to get to and then go to work and all that, or leave early and use PTO time. It's cool. It's a weekend. You just go back down there. That's fine. All that's agreed upon. So then I get a phone call back from my mother. Well, a text back. She just wanted to spend a little time with you. Hey, man, you wanted her down there to take care of mother. I'm agreeing with you. That's what she's doing. Well, you should cherish the couple. I'm not getting ready to get involved with this with you anymore. She can have that. Like I told her in the next text, I understand where your loyalty lies. She says, my loyalty doesn't lie with you or her, just the grandbaby. And I said, that statement alone, what she said was best for the grandbaby, which she thinks was best for the grandbaby is being with her mother. She stated that. And like I told her, that statement alone says it all. So at this point, I will always try and make sure my daughter's fine. But as I close this episode out, I will tell you the relationship with my mother, it is destroyed. And I will not be rebuilding it ever again. Whatever it comes through in terms of what's being cordial, it's fine. But you know what she would like it to be, no, it would never be. Would there ever be any more like communicating with her or confiding in her or any of that? No. At this point today on July 18th, I have to treat her just as I would treat other people now. She'll be in the box with my ex-wife at this point. High and by, if there's something going on with my daughter, that's fine. But besides that, there just won't be any communication anymore besides that. And I know you guys may be listening to this saying that's harsh, but you got to understand, there's positive energy, there's negative energy. There's destroy, there's rebuild. Every time you destroy, though, it takes that much more work to rebuild. Every time something gets destroyed when you're older, it takes even more work to rebuild. Your body don't react the same. You don't have the energy for it anymore. And at this age, and at this point, and at the 50-minute mark of this video, I'm telling you, as you listening to it, I still don't have the energy for it no more. I know this is going to come off as cold-hearted, but for me, I'm very clear with how I respect people and the respect that I demand back. And like I tell you guys, certain people are allowed to have a certain boundary. But at this point, she's crossed that boundary, and I'm no longer willing to let her back in. So it's your boy, the Hood Nerd, ending this first Crockpot Sunday with y'all. I'm out. I get at y'all next week.